Hi there, I'm Cordy, and in my last video I introduced you to my inner critic, and in this video I want to introduce you to the opposite side. I want to introduce you to my creativity fairy or fairy godmother. I'm going to show you how I came up with the design and also dabble a little bit in some rules how to draw faces and how to draw people. So let's get started. I always find drawing people a little bit intimidating, so I'm a big fan of making a good underdrawing. So it's always good to start with the head, like an egg shape, and then measure that one out. We're going to measure it down to 6 heads. So make a little mark at 3. That's the middle, and then going down again to 6. So that's the very end. Here we go. And then just make a stick figure. The neck, the shoulders, and for the joints, I like to make little dots. So taking the spine down all the way to the hips. That's the halfway point, by the way, that we just marked with the 6 heads. And then the legs down. And there at the halfway point, we'll make the knee joint, and then this is the heel and the tippy toes. Now the arms are on the hips, so as well drawing in the joints, the elbow joints, just roughly, so we get an idea of her proportions. Now the other leg comes out to the side, knee joint, and then goes behind, so it's like bent a little bit because she's hovering up in the air. I find it helpful to also draw in or sketch in the rib cage and the hips. So the hips, they look like underpants kind of, and the rib cage is sort of a triangle, really. You can even make it pointing down. So from here, we're ready to switch over to the pencil, going up to draw the neck, and then letting the shoulders flow over to the shoulder joint, and then just roughly sketching it. We're sort of beefing up stick figure, turning the sticks into real limbs. So that space from elbow down to the wrist is almost like an elongated triangle. So going inward a little bit. Yeah, see that? It's like an elongated triangle. And then we move down the torso along the ribs. It's also a triangle here. And then here is a pointing upward one as well towards the shoulders. It's not a straight edge. Now coming around the hips here, they come out a little bit, obviously, and then moving down the thighs. At the halfway point, we're just coming out a little bit to indicate the knees. On the straight leg, obviously, on the bent one, that's a whole different story. It makes an angle anyway, and then also going from the knee towards the ankle, shape becomes a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner. So yeah, indicating the leg that's behind, the bent leg is behind. There's only the little bit of foot poking out, but we'll get to that later. Let's finish that straight leg, coming inward, indicating the ankle just roughly, and then down to the foot. It's a pointed foot, so it's a really simple shape. And we draw in a little shoe. It's just a tiny little ballet slipper. So quite easy. And there's another little bit of the shoe pointing out. Here we go. Okay. And then we draw in the dress that's going to go over our shape. I always find it easiest to draw the whole figure roughly first and then add some clothes to it. So the skirt, the back skirt is long, going all the way down. And then the front bit is a bit frayed. I thought that looks a little bit natural, bringing in sort of that natural feel to my fairy godmother. And then going in to some more detail. Let's see, finish the dress here. And then we want to get rid of the lines so we see the dress a bit better, and then come up here to make a little bit of a more muscly arm on the end here. Here we have the hand. It's sort of in the hips on this side, and on the other side it's more on the back. It's flat and on the back side of the hips. Looking very confident in her way she floats up there. So I just decided to give her a low-cut dress, but still big straps to support the motherly figure here. You always want to think about what are the characteristics of the figure you want to depict. So I decided to go for a quite motherly figure here, adding some lines, just a little detail to the dress. Another cool detail I thought would bring out sort of the bit more warrior-like qualities are little decorations, little upper arm bracelets. So I decided to do some swirly lines, just swirling in one way and going back the same way on the other side here as well. Just making sure that at the end of the arm you raise it up a little bit. And then I gave her little fabric-y kind of bracelets down here as well. Just simple triangles to make it a little interesting. And then on the skirt down here, we'll add some folds. Bring the height of the line. Some go up, some stay down, just to make it a bit more interesting for the eye. All right, I think I want this to be a little bit more rounded. Here we go. Yeah, that looks a little better. What do you think? All right, good. So the thigh gets a little improvement, and the knee, 2 lines on the knee, so we know that's where the knee is on the straight leg. So for my fairy godmother, I wanted to have a kind of stout, sort of muscular, very feminine look. So usually when we start out measuring for the underdrawing, we use 8 heads. Now, as you remember, I only used 6 because I wanted her to sort of be a bit stout and to appear a little bit wider. So here we go. Now it's time to go up and do the face with that egg shape that we used for measuring before. We're going to divide it up in half, in 1/2, and then in thirds. So here's 1/3 roughly. And I like to be a little bit loose with those rules because not every face is perfect. Every face has an individual relation between nose, mouth, and eyes. So I'm going for a roundabout to get that individual look in. So here you see there's the thirds, and then the half is a little lighter in here. I hope you can see it. So 1, 2, 3, and then the half in the middle. So we're starting out with our eyes. They're slightly above the halfway line. Just making, I'm always going really big or a little bit bigger than intended, because later when I go over with the fine liner, I can tighten it up a little bit. The nose is above sort of above the last third line, and then the mouth is underneath. So roughly penciling it in. Yep, that looks like a face. I'm buying it. So let's keep going. So under the nose there, there's usually the angle for the jawbone. So draw a bit of an angle here, or that's where the jawbone starts. Dipping it down to the chin, going off that line, that egg shape a little bit. And by the eyes, it goes inward a little bit. So that's sort of how the bones are structured. And the eye sort of has a little bit of a pointiness in the middle. And then on the outside of the eye, that top arch comes down a little bit to get a good eye shape going. Then we need the nose from the eye, that little ridge that goes down towards the nose, and then the side bits of the nose as well. Like I said, I always make it quite big, so later with the fine liner I can be a little bit more delicate. Pupils we need. Here we go. The dark parts as well. And then little eyelashes. I love eyelashes. They make the eyes look so much more open. And then very manicured eyebrows. The look of my fairy godmother has a little bit of drag queen in it. So her makeup is quite exaggerated. And her lips are quite plump. So here we go. Lips are just a wavy line on the top and also a bit of a wavy line at the bottom. Not just a rounded line, but if you give that a bit of a wave, they look really lush and plump. So let's see. Oh, I think the head there needs a little correction, a little bit more towards the center. Here we go. All right, so we're getting there. Let's add the neck connections again. And then we also need ears. They usually come up to the top of the eye and then down to the base of the nose. We're just indicating them because I already know that I'm doing quite the hairdo, so we won't see them anyway. It's just to get a bit of an idea. Yep, I'm getting a drag queen vibe here. That's great. All right, little touch up to the eyes, a little bit more makeup so I can imagine. Yep, that's it. Okay, so for the hair, I'm gonna add a little bit of a flower decoration on the side. It's literally just little pointy shapes, and then I'm gonna give my fairy godmother lots of curls. I think they give a lot of softness to a character, and that's exactly what you want in the voice of creativity, and encouraging softness and determination. So here we go, just little round squiggles down to the side, and I'm always going all out on the hair. Big, because with the magic eraser you can just trim it down again, but I am liking that crazy hairdo. There's a couple more dips down here. All right, and a little bit of texture into the eyebrows, into the super manicured eyebrows. So for the face, I'm using a 0.1 fine liner to make it a little bit more detailed. And then for the rest, 0.3. And then over the outlines, I trace with a 0.5 to make it pop off the page. Now here she is, my creativity fairy. She's always whispering into my ear, there are no bad drawings. Every drawing is the opportunity to learn something, even if you make mistakes. So don't ever think that it's not worth starting to draw It always is worth going on an adventure. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel for some more sketchbook and art adventures. If you want to learn a little bit more about working with color, then pop on over to my Skillshare class. Use the link in the description to get 1 month of Skillshare free. And keep on drawing, stay creative, and let that creativity fairy inspire you. I hope to see you soon. Have a lovely day. Bye.